What's happening in the news today? What? With Moonwater announcement, Trump proposes space navy? Have you ever watched or read something that doesn't quite add up? To fully understand any text, especially a persuasive one, you need to put on your thinking cap and keep three things in mind: context, audience, and purpose. They all influence the creation of the text and each other. Understanding them is important when analyzing a text in subjects like English, history, but also in later life outside of school. Your grasp of them will influence how you interpret the text and the author's intentions. The circumstances that form the setting of a statement or an idea, and in terms of which it can be fully understood, is the context. It refers to the environment in which the text was created, all the things that were happening in the real world during that time. These events can be very important, so you need to ask yourself what the cultural, social, or political climate was at the time. You may need to be aware of them in order to fully understand it. For example, cigarette advertisements from the 1940s and 50s promoted the healthy benefits of smoking in a time when the dangers of tobacco smoke were not widely known. Running these same adverts today would not be as effective or even legal in some places. Let's say you need to analyze a text created in the United States of America in the year 2020. In terms of the context, the things you may need to take into consideration include lockdowns, homeschooling, and 300,000 deaths due to the COVID-19 pandemic. There was also 14% unemployment, the Black Lives Matter protests and riots, and the year concluded with Donald Trump not accepting the fact that he had lost the election. The audience is the person or the group that the text is trying to reach and speak to. The manner in which a text or argument is presented, the tone and the word choice, will change depending on the intended audience. Their age range, gender, religious beliefs, nationality, ethnic and cultural background all impact how a text has been created. Informal language or slang might not be understood or appreciated by an elderly audience. References to pop culture or culturally specific terms will not be understood by everyone. For example, the simile, "the bruise was as purple as a docker," would not make sense to English speakers outside of Australia. It might not even be understood by some Aussies living in, say, Queensland. Additionally, the content may change depending on the audience. For example, an article about reducing the anxiety on the first day of school will be different for Australian or American parents because of our different cultures, circumstances, and expectations. The purpose is the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. The purpose of a text can fall into three broad categories: to inform, to entertain, and to persuade. These can overlap, of course. When it comes to analyzing a text, you will need to determine exactly what it is trying to persuade you of. It might be to change the audience's behavior or habits, which the author views as unhealthy. It could be to shame careless and inconsiderate drivers about their manners on the road, or persuade students to read 20 minutes a day. Let's put this all together and look at some examples. An article about dogs being let off leash near playgrounds. Well, the context could have been that dogs were scaring or biting children, or perhaps they found dog poo in the sandpit. The audience would be the dog owners, the people who are letting their dogs run wild. And the purpose would be, you guessed it, to leash their dogs, to be considerate of others. An essay on the dangers posed by social media on teenagers. Well, the context could be that there's an increase in cyberbullying, depression, and anxiety amongst teenagers. The audience could be the teenagers, or maybe even their parents or their teachers. And the purpose could be to raise awareness or to reduce social media consumption. And lastly, a YouTube video about the benefits of reading 20 minutes a day. Well, the context could be that fewer students are reading and literacy is decreasing. The audience may be students, their parents or their teachers, and the purpose would be to increase reading. Let's finish with a real-world example. Here's a popular cartoon you may have seen online. The waiters are only serving the soldier and ignoring the other customers. As you can see, the soldier represents war, while the other customers left without food or money are education, healthcare, libraries, and art, among others. The cartoon is titled, "In America, at this restaurant, only one person is served." It was published in 1953 in a satirical magazine in the Soviet Union. So the original context then is the Cold War, which pitted the democratic USA against the communist USSR. The audience would be the general population of the Soviet Union and other communists. And the purpose would be to point out the flaws of America and democracy as a whole and undermine the opposition. Context, audience, and purpose. They all need to be kept in mind when analyzing a text. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing for additional videos which may help you read and write better. Thanks for watching.